Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. This video is prepared to brief everyone about your first assessment for engineering statistics, that is Project 1. In this video, I will explain about what is Project 1, followed by the instruction for the project, third, assessment rubric for the project, fourth, secondary dataset, and finally, the example of Project 1 PowerPoint slide submission. What is Project 1? Project 1 is the only assessment that covers the whole materials of Chapter 1. This project is a team project. Each team consists of 2 students only. Each team will have to choose one dataset, and you are required to do the project based on the given instruction in the next slide. The level of complexity for Project 1 is C4, which means the execution for this project involves the process of remember, understand, apply, and analyze what you have learned in Chapter 1 to fulfill the project expectation. The due date for Project 1 is on 18 May 2021. That will be on Tuesday. Now, let us look at the instruction for the project. The total mark for this project is 20%. This project covers all the materials taught in Chapter 1. This project also provides an exposure of how to manage secondary data using statistics. The course outcome for this project includes, first, able to understand secondary data organization and describe related basic statistical concepts. Second, apply basic statistical skills to understand and organize data, as well as choosing the correct method to analyze secondary data. You may use any available statistical software to analyze your data, or use any statistical software based on your lecturer's preferences. And finally, to develop statistical reasoning skills to make conclusions based on the analysis of the assigned data. It is expected that you and your team member can work closely and fairly to achieve the course outcome of this project. The instruction. Team setup. Please set up a team of 2 students from your class. For the data, each team needs to choose one secondary data set for their project. Please explore the data and identify the appropriate description about the population, sample size, and types of variables, whether qualitative or quantitative, that involved in your dataset. Project title. Once your team has understood your dataset, create a suitable topic for your project. You may use the case versus location, gender, age group, or whatever information is available to your dataset as a hint to your project title. Your team may only proceed with the project title after the approval from your lecturer. Method and analysis. Based on the chosen title, determine at least 4 objectives for your project. Then, determine the appropriate methods of analysis based on the data summary and presentation suitable for your data. For reporting purposes, you are expected to include explanations of how you organize, summarize, and analyze your data. Finally, the conclusions. Based on the analysis, apply your statistical reasoning skills to demonstrate your in-depth overall conclusion that relate all project objectives, methods and analysis, and your result. Mode of project submission. There will be 2 things that you need to submit. First, the report. The report will be in the PowerPoint slide and saved in PDF form. It should be within 6 to 8 slides that contain first slide title and group details, second slide project backgrounds and objective, which carries 5 marks. Slide number 3, data description, another 5 marks. Slide number 4 until number 7 will be on the method and analysis, and that will be 20 marks. And finally, the last slide on the conclusion, and that carries 10 marks. For the video presentation, you will have to prepare 3 minutes video presentation that include all the contents of your project described in one. And for your video presentation, it will carry 10 marks. You can use any video presentation platform for your project 1, but please make sure all the necessary contents are included in the video. Please make sure your work is original, otherwise 0 mark will be given. Next, assessment rubrics for project 1. Let us see how your project will be evaluated and how marks are given to your work. Now look at the first column. Among the items to be evaluated are A. Project backgrounds and objective, 5 marks. B. Data descriptions, 5 marks. C. Method and analysis, 20 marks. D. Conclusions, 10 marks. And finally, E. Video presentation and clarity, 10 marks. Altogether, it will give you 50 marks. If you are aware, there are 5 rating types: insufficient project, fair project, good project, very good project, and finally excellent project. So what are the criteria for insufficient project? It is simply the project background is not defined, the project objectives are not defined. For fair project, the project background is not clearly defined, means that the project is there but it is not clearly defined. And the project objectives are stated but insufficient. Maybe the project objective is less than 4. For good project, the project background is defined and the 4 objectives are stated but not well defined. And for the good project, for the very good project, the project background is well defined and the 4 specific and measurable objectives are defined. And finally, for excellent project, the project background is well defined with clear justification and the 4 specific and measurable objectives are well defined as well. By referring to this rubric, it is hoped that everyone is clear on how a project is being evaluated from item to item and what is the distinction between insufficient project to excellent project. Your lecturer will give you the rubrics for your reference. Please be clear that 40 marks will be given based on your submitted PowerPoint slide in PDF. And that include item A, project background and objective, item B, data description, item C, methods and analysis, and item D, conclusion. And another 10 marks is for your submitted video presentation. If you aim to get full marks for your video presentation, please make sure your video must include all item A until D. Your video must be clear with an engaging voice and images, and more importantly, your video excellently demonstrate overall statistical knowledge, skills, and application of Chapter 1. For your Project 1, we have prepared a collection of dataset downloaded from Department of Statistics Malaysia, Department of Statistics Singapore, and Department of Statistics Brunei. For example, in this slide, Some dataset from the Department of Statistics Malaysia are shown. They are dataset related to adolescent birth rate by state for 2001 until 2018, followed by death and death rates annual, until the last dataset is the number and rate of infant mortality by state and sex for 2010 until 2018. For your information, all datasets are given in an Excel format. Please bear in mind, no repetition of dataset is allowed among you and other teams. This means your team will have to choose a dataset that has not been chosen by any other team. Your lecturer will prepare a dataset checklist to avoid from such repetition. For the next few slides, I will share an example of PowerPoint slide for submission for Project 1. For your project, you may begin your slide with your project title, names of your team member, and other necessary information. The second slide should describe your project background and project objective. Since you are using secondary dataset, you may need to study your dataset and try to create a suitable and make sense project background. For example, you may highlight what are the important issues from the dataset. Highlight why they are important to be investigated. Or are there any similarities or differences exist? And maybe how many variables involved in your project. Once you have done for the project background, then formulate 4 objectives for your project based on your project background. At this stage, you may start thinking, what types of descriptive statistics that can be applied for each of your project objectives? Remember, the course outcome for this project is for you and your team to describe basic statistical concepts, apply basic statistical skills, and develop statistical reasoning skills. Next, for the data description, please include correct and clear description about the population, sample size, and types of variable, such as qualitative or quantitative, and clearly state the source of your dataset. And you may include any other necessary data description. This is an example of good method and analysis report. Each graphical and numerical data presentation contains correct X and Y axis label along with appropriate titles and clear legend. Apart from that, clear interpretation of analysis based on the project objective are available. Project report that include in-depth explanation of how to organize, summarize, and analyze data will probably get full mark. Another good method and analysis report. Project report clearly includes in-depth explanation of how to organize, summarize, and analyze their data. This is an example of project report with insufficient methods and analysis. The numerical and graphical results are shown but not interpreted. No explanation of how to organize, summarize, and analyze secondary data are included in the report. Another example of project report with insufficient method and analysis. The numerical and graphical results are shown but not interpreted. No explanation of how to organize, summarize, and analyze secondary data are included in the report. In fact, some of the graphical analyses are unclear with missing labels, so please avoid this kind of report. To wrap up your project, you are expected to demonstrate in-depth overall conclusion that relate all your project objective, method and analysis, as well as your project results. Ability to highlight this part means that you and your team have achieved the intended course outcome for Project 1. For further information, please refer to your lecturer. Bear in mind that this project requires close discussion among your team members as well as your lecturer. We would like to advise everyone, please start the project once you have got your dataset. Plan the execution of your project, divide tasks to be done between you and your team member, and don't wait until the last minute to do the project. If you have any problem, please refer to your lecturer. So, all the best to you all. Thank you.